Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Deliver Me a Podcast.
Don't you mean three wise women in a podcast?
I can't even think about this movie without laughing. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I thought that this one was a roaring success.
It was okay. We'll just start with the hot takes from the very beginning.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, then let's do some hot takes.
I'll start. I loved the baby. Whoever played little Thomas, that baby was so expressive.
Twin girls.
Girls. Well, they're fantastic little baby actors because, I mean, come on. You know, you felt the emotion from the baby in certain scenes too.
Oh, yeah. Andrew Walker tweeted on Saturday night, "This baby is giving an Emmy-worthy performance." I said, yeah, gonna have to agree.
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, there wasn't any time where I was like, oh, that looks like a fake baby, like a prop baby. You know what I mean? They do that in shows and stuff. You can tell they're like, oh, that's a fake baby right now.
Okay, so Kaycee, we talked about this a tiny bit when we were doing the recap for
Lights, Camera, Christmas.
Thank you.
I wasn't even there and I know that.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, y'all, I had the flu for a whole week and bronchitis, so that's why I was not on that recap, but apparently my spirit was still there because I knew exactly what she was saying.
Yes, indeed. So, but yeah, at the very end, we started talking about how excited we were for Three Wise Men and a Baby. And I don't know, Jess is definitely too young for this, but are you too young or too uninformed to know about Three Men and a Baby? The movie Three Men and a Baby.
We had the VHS. Tom Selleck.
You did.
We did.
Yeah, Tom Selleck. Jess. Tom Selleck, Steve Guttenberg, and Ted Danson. And boy, oh boy, that was funny. And it was the same kind of shenanigans. Three single men. They didn't have any of the mom's help this time because there was no mom. I think that they were roommates, if I'm not mistaken. They were not brothers. And so three single men trying desperately to take care of a baby. I remember at one point Tom Selleck's character was in the store and he was trying to buy stuff for the baby, and this woman was trying to help him, kind of similar to the scene. And she said, "How old is your baby?" And he goes, "That old." And she goes, "You don't know how old your baby is." So okay, so but getting back to this one, so having grown up watching that intermittently, I knew that this was going to be just a whole load of fun, and I don't think that they disappointed. And then I found out that Paul and Kimberly wrote this together. I'm like, oh,
it all makes
man.
sense.
Yes, it all makes sense now. And at first I was like, oh, darn, Kimberly's not in it. Bada bing, bada boom. She's
there.
The
she
pediatrician.
Is. You can't write this stuff, can you?
Oh my gosh. When she said that line, "Can't write this stuff, can you?" and aimed it right at the baby, I thought I was gonna die. There were so many times in this whole movie that I thought I was gonna die. Probably the highest on my list would have to be the dance.
Oh yeah.
that that dance. I mean, in the preview, we saw them creating the Christmas tree. Never in a million years did I think there was a whole dance that went with it.
Now, my biggest question about this dance is, will we get to see an encore performance at Rama Drama in Chicago of this dance?
Yes, we will.
I think we need that. And I think we as the audience need to learn it as well.
Exactly.
So I
have heard inklings, little rumblings about perhaps a little bit of a demonstration, if you will.
Ooh. Well, if it's not happening when you get there, you need to make it happen when you get there.
Do like a flash mob. Oh my gosh, we should flash mob them with the dance.
Do the dance. Do the dance. Oh, send me a video, please. Send me a video. All right. So I just have to say that one part that truly connected with me was when Tyler Hines' character is sitting on the couch, finally got the baby settled down. Like, I don't think I've showered today. And is it too much to ask for just 2 minutes of me time? That too much to ask? And I went, yes, it is.
Or like when Andrew's character, Luke, comes in and they're like, you've been out all day, like a true parental exchange there.
It's 7:30. Oh man, my husband was working. He wasn't working nights when Kira was a little baby, but he was working late afternoon into the night, and so he would get home at about 11:30 midnight. And so I specifically remember one night, I'm sitting on the floor. I got Kira to sleep literally 5 minutes before he walked in the door, and he's like, hi. I'm like, hi. It was the exact same sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think my mom felt that way with me, because when I was a little baby, I was colicky. I was so colicky. I screamed and screamed and screamed. And my mom always tells the story of how when my dad would come home, she would just pick me up and say, take her. I need a minute. Of course, now I'm the angel that I am today, perfect all the time. So
yeah, you got it out of your system.
I had to get it out early.
Yeah. 29 and a half years ago.
Remind me how that is relevant. Oh, whoops. Was I not supposed to say that?
Do you want me to take away your Christmas present? Better watch it.
Okay.
Getting on my naughty list.
Oh, I'm on the Jess Bossy naughty list, Kaycee. Now I'm in trouble.
Big trouble.
Anyway, back to this movie. I will say one thing that surprised me about this movie, because I expected it to be like slapstick comedy the whole time, but there was a lot of heart and deeper meaning. And at first it caught me off guard, and I sort of had to reorient my expectations of the movie. But once I did, it just really kind of resonated with me, because I could see myself a little bit in each one of these characters.
Yep.
Like sometimes I'm more like Luke, where I just feel like I'm just trying to be so perfect all the time, or sometimes more like Taylor, where I just give up and have that I don't
go
care.
Live in your mother's basement and play video games all day
and eat pizza, but probably more often than not, unlike Stefan, where I let my anxiety put myself in a little hidey hole and like hide away. So like I could really see myself in each one of these brothers, and I thought that made it really meaningful that they added this depth to each one of the characters as well.
Yeah.
No, I was really kidding earlier when I was like, oh, the movie was okay. I actually really did enjoy this movie. It was surprising for those reasons that Jess said. I thought it was going to be a lot more comedic. Did not expect there to be a lot of heart. I was kind of like, oh, these people actually have depth to their characters, unlike most Hallmark Christmas movies where it's like, we gotta go save the farm and we've got to go rescue this baby and we've got to do all the things. It was more, there was a lot of meaning behind a lot, and these characters were all flawed and they had flawed relationships, and it wasn't this perfect little family. Like, they were going through a lot of things that they had to kind of figure out after their father left them, and apparently it made a really big impact on all three of them in three very different ways,
because they never fully recovered until they talked about it.
And it makes sense. I mean, Andrew Walker's character is obviously the oldest, and so
that's what I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, okay, is it Luke or is it Stefan? Who's the oldest? Because Stefan's the tallest, but that does not necessarily mean the oldest. And I was just,
he was total middle child. I called that. Like, as soon as we saw all the I was like, Andrew Walker, Paul Campbell, and Tyler Hines is the baby. It was so obvious to me.
Really?
So from the get-go, yeah.
Because
had middle child syndrome, like the way that. So Tyler Hines' character, I knew he was the youngest.
Oh yeah,
the video games, all the things. I was
sure
he's the youngest, and then the way that Stefan was like on to him, I was like, that's middle child right there. He's like blah, 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 blah. Oldest child. Andrew Walker, I was like, well, yeah, he's obviously the oldest because he's like he's the go-getter. He's the one that's like, all right.
He's trying to live on his own.
Yeah, he's like, he's got to have like all the things. So yeah, no, that was very obvious to me.
It was confusing for me because I'm a youngest child, and no, I'm not a moocher.
Really?
Wow.
You walked right into that.
But I'm a youngest child, and I had 5 older brothers, and they are all much older than I am. And so I was trying to figure out, because this has happened in my family a couple of times, I was trying to figure out if Andrew's character, Lucas, was the middle child and Stefan went and hid. So Lucas stepped up to be the oldest in character. That because he said I was the only one available because Stefan ran and hid. So that's what made me think that was Stefan's job, but he wouldn't do it. So I took it. I took the job. That was what led me to think, maybe Lucas is the middle child, but he had to step up his game because Stefan wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I saw oldest child victim syndrome in those statements.
Of course you would. But it was not clearly said. Give me that.
It was not clearly said.
Okay, yeah. Because I was wondering, like, okay, we've ascertained that Taylor is the youngest, but who is the oldest? Because it kind of went back and forth for me. All right, so let's talk about Mom for a minute. Do you ladies recognize Mom?
Mm-mm.
It was driving me crazy for about the first 20 minutes. And I was like, who? And finally I looked it up, and her name is Margaret Collin, and she was on Independence Day. That's where I recognized her from. She was, I can't remember her character's name right now, but
I thought her name was Mary Margaret Humes.
Okay.
Nope.
Her name is Margaret Collin, and Connie. She was Jeff Goldblum, his character. She was his ex, and then they end up through the course of the movie getting back together. No Independence Day?
I have not seen that in years.
Okay. Well, that's where I know her from. So, and it was driving me nuts. It's like, I know that face, I know that face, I know that face. And
she was also in First Daughter.
Sorry?
She was also in the movie First Daughter with Katie Holmes.
Oh, I saw that movie maybe once.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which actually makes sense because I was like, that lady looks like an older version of Katie Holmes.
And there you go.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so check this out. Let's talk about love interests for a second. So,
Oh, wait, hold on. She was also in the original 3 Men and a Baby.
Oh, there's a little Easter egg.
all right,
This one with Rebecca.
that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense, and that just makes me die. Oh gosh, that's funny. That is hilarious. Oh gosh, I can't. That is really funny now. All right, so let's talk about love interest for a second. So Fiona Broom played Susie, who was for Stefan. And then we have Ali Liebert playing Fiona. So that didn't get confusing. And so did you guys think the same thing I was thinking? Like, okay, who for Lucas? Come on, we got these two covered. Who? For
I was like, it's the baby mama.
that was what I was gonna say. Like, it has to be the baby's mother. But for a while there, I thought that Taylor's character was going to be the only one with a love interest because Stefan was trying so hard to avoid Susie.
And she came off a little strong.
Just a tiny bit. She scared me a couple of times. Oh my gosh. And the other thing, I was just like, wait, Stefan's a what?
A pet therapist. I think my cat could use one of those because he's pretty crazy. I think he needs a therapist.
Okay.
He's got some issues. So Stefan, you can come help me out here.
Deep, dark issues that need to be resolved from when he was a mere kitten.
Some kittenhood trauma, abandonment issues from being adopted by me.
Gosh.
Oh, word. Okay, moving on.
It's gonna be the sequel. It's gonna be in the sequel.
Okay. And then I really liked Allie's character, Fiona. I thought that she was hip. I thought she was together. I thought that she was helpful, but not enabling. She really made Taylor see what's up.
Yeah. She was doing it for the mom,
Yeah, I'm not doing, and she made no bones about it. She said, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for your mom because she deserves it after putting up with you.
All three of them.
Gosh. Okay. I lived with my mom for several years, and I did it as a married woman. But can I just say that we were doing everything in our capability to earn enough money to get into our own home. And now we're in our own home and it's fabulous. When I saw that all three of them were living with their mother in some capacity, I just went, oh my gosh.
I thought that was the best part of the movie.
And how Stefan is trying to justify it, like it's a separate dwelling. I'm like, you're living with your mother, dude.
I think though that a lot of people are going to find that relatable because just of how awful the housing market is. I know so many people who are moving back in with their parents or whatever, but nobody can afford a home right now. So I did think that was a really fun dynamic because these Hallmark movies always have these very successful, everything is put together perfectly. And it was really nice and refreshing to see maybe a less than ideal situation for most people and kind of have that play out.
So, okay, let's just talk. Well, hold on. Let's finish with the love scene, with the love interest. So I really liked the way that they did Lucas's love interest because it wasn't an old girlfriend. It wasn't somebody that he knew. It was the person that he helped, and he delivered the baby for her. Basically, he was the first one on the scene, and so that's why she trusted him.
Yeah, see, he basically was his baby, right? Gosh. The running joke of the movie. You sure it's not yours? Seems like it's gonna be.
I think it's gonna be. But I really like the way they did that, because I was seriously expecting, when she came up and said, "Thomas, my baby," I expected him to say, "Sophie," and then we're gonna go, "Okay, old girlfriend, didn't know, blah blah blah," and no, it wasn't that at all. And then they show a year later, his house is finished. He's having the holiday celebration at his house, which is fantastic. And then it's actually very quiet. You have to look for it. You see Lucas hand over Thomas to Sophie and then give her a kiss on the cheek.
Oh,
and yeah, you have to look for it. You really do. And so it was just very subtle and very good. So yeah, I really liked how everybody grew in their relationship, and how it went from 3 bachelors to basically 3 families. Yeah, I really love that. And so, Jess, going back to what you were talking about with how much heart it had, I don't think I've ever, even in the few Lifetime movies I've seen him in, I don't think I've ever seen Andrew Walker play a character that got that severe. I would see him pretend to be severe. I would see him try to laugh off a serious situation like he did for most of it. But I mean, when he got down to it, he was like, "I'm there for everyone else." I'm like, oh my gosh, Andrew Walker shouting. I'm not used to this. He's always the level-headed one, and he was the level-headed one in this threesome, but it was not for the reasons that we thought. He was burying a lot of trauma from having to take care of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, they all were in their own way, and it just manifested as 3 very different personalities.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a good reminder to look beyond the surface of, especially with family, we get so used to one another, and we can forget that we're still dealing with a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to family trauma. Yeah. Not to get super serious here, but
no, it's true. It's true. Okay, let's have some fun here. Let's talk about the shenanigans. Because, oh man, the movie was full of them, and I was laughing every 3 seconds. I don't know about you guys, but
one of my favorite shenanigans was the little red wagon and pulling the baby through the store.
Oh,
I can't explain it.
I mean, smart kid,
but I don't know where Taylor got that money.
And then we may have to evacuate the store
because of a poopy diaper. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
hey, some of those are really scary. Okay.
Hey, Kaycee.
As the one who doesn't have children.
Yeah.
I've still seen things. I am an aunt. I have been peed on.
Oh.
And puked on. Although I think I successfully avoided being pooped on, but there's a new baby on the way with my sister. So
oh, good luck.
Here's my opportunity to finally get pooped on, I guess.
I was dying with the bath. With the 2 of them reaching around each other. And Taylor literally just sprayed Stephanie, got tired of him saying ying, 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 and so just
I will say though, to their point, even as a experienced mother, bathing a baby is pretty scary because
it is no joke.
Yeah, you're like, for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're gonna slip out and then they're gonna conk their head and then they're gonna, because they're so like just slippery and yeah. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure my husband and I looked like that bathing our babies. Like, support the head and don't let it go. What are you doing? You're not getting the arm. Yes, I am. Shut up.
That was, I think, one of the greatest parts is this is not only describing the experience of a single mother, this is describing the experience of new parents, because Taylor was saying, I haven't showered, I haven't had any me time. That's any mom who is married and her husband goes off to work for the day and she's at home with the baby and she does nothing but care for that baby. And, oh man. But yeah, that whole thing, seeing them crowd each other and fumble over each other to try to keep that baby. Oh, and then spraying the water all over Stefan. And I think one of the really funny sequences was when Stefan said, he was so superior, I'll take the baby and I'm gonna do some baking with him. and
then he brings home the wrong baby.
No, that's Lucas. That was Lucas.
Luke.
But
I thought that's what we were talking about. Sorry, I missed it.
No, when Stefan says, I'm going to bake and I've got the baby. And then Taylor comes into the room and Stefan turns around and he's just covered. He's covered in flour. He's probably covered in powder formula. He's covered in everything.
Rookie mistake. You put the baby in the high chair and then you cook where the baby cannot reach things.
Well, but no, but they couldn't get the swing. They couldn't get the swing assembled. Remember, Luke did that. So
my thing was, this baby's like 8 months old. What are you doing to it while you're baking? Like, how much destruction does a baby actually make? Now, like 1-year-old, a little different. 8-month-old, when they are barely mobile,
they're not grabbing things yet.
Did you put them on the counter? Did the baby just stick their hand in the flour and just?
I think so.
I mean, I'm not even 100% certain that the baby could sit up by himself, because he never got the chance. He was laying in the car seat or he was being held. We didn't see him in a high chair. So, put him on a blanket on the floor. You don't have to give him tummy time, but
tummy time.
they probably didn't even know what tummy time was.
Yeah, they would not have. No.
Well, they probably thought, if I put this kid down, they're gonna start screaming. So
probably that's probably what they did think. And so that the fact that Stefan is just covered in all of this junk, and then when Luke is doing the baking, he thinks that he knows what's going on. He's like, change the diaper? Yeah, done. Bottle, burped, and bathed, boys. Uncle Luke's got this. Stefan, like, why isn't he crying? Why aren't you crying? That's one of the best lines in the whole movie. And then yes, he picks up
baby
right after
hair on that baby. Woo!
Right after he said, some parents just can't keep track of can't keep an eye on their kids. It was like, oh gosh, did he seriously just say that?
He jinxed himself.
Yeah, that was actually one thing that I really liked, because in the script, they could have made him that much better, because he was used to handling everything. But I really liked that they gave him that flaw, that he took the wrong baby, because
took him down a notch.
It took him down a notch. It put him on a much more level playing field with the two of them, despite the terror that mother must have gone Oh man. Oh my gosh. I cannot even imagine being that mother.
Oh, listen, people, just always check when you have the little cover thing. Just do yourself a favor and check. And you're really not supposed to cover your baby when you're in the car anyway. So, you know, like you just stick them in there, put the little thing over, give them a little air.
Make sure you got the right baby.
I mean, you know,
Just take a peek. Just peek. That's
Yeah,
all you need to do.
you know.
Okay. Elves. Can we talk elves for a minute here? We all knew it was coming because we'd seen all the pictures and the promos. We just didn't know what the scenario was. So
It was
them,
great.
oh man, them going back to the Christmas market to replace the snowman decoration that they broke when they were wrestling, putting him in a lock. And then to watch them all get a picture of Santa. Oh gosh, I was dying.
Again, I think we need a reprise of this at Ramen Drama to have our own holiday photo with Santa and the elves.
And I
Brilliant.
heard they're bringing their elf costumes.
Yes. I hope this is happening. I hope I just predicted this.
So do you want to dress up in the baby's elf costume? Is that what you're saying, Jess? That
I'll just put the hat on. Just give me like a little elf hat and I'll wear my green sweater and we're great.
Well, there you go. All right. So let's go to the end for a second. The live nativity.
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh.
That was some awkward stuff. I was getting
so
secondhand
painful.
embarrassment for that.
It was so painful to watch. It's like what Tyler said in It Was Always You. It's like a solar eclipse. I can't look straight at it.
I will say I was so glad that they did not win the competition
Mhm.
because
I
once
thought,
they did the lights, I was like, oh, that wasn't that impressive.
yeah, I thought that they were going to have them win. So I'm with you. I'm glad that there was still room for improvement.
Yeah. I think the other guy was the clear winner.
Mhm.
Too bad though, because he was such a brat.
But they became friends. So yay.
Took him a year, but
Well, longer because he knew them all in high school.
Mhm.
Shoved them into
Yeah.
the lockers.
bully then, bully now. Ugh. I can't stand it when those people don't evolve. I'm just like, really? You're still in high school. Will you please grow up? So, but yeah, oh gosh, that was so painful. And when I saw Stefan with the totally Simba, the baby,
Yeah, like Lion King style.
I know he had him, but I was scared. I'm like, no.
Don't drop the baby. Maybe that was a fake baby at that point.
Oh gosh. And that none of them knew the story of the nativity. And so they're all trying to fill in the blank.
I know, like you centered your whole like show around the nativity.
A story that you are not clear on the details. Let's improve this a little bit. And then Stefan overcomes his fear of public speaking. Go Stefan!
Hey, Stefan!
Yay. Maybe the lights were just so blinding he couldn't see all the people.
There you go.
I can tell you from being on stage that that's the trick I use. The lights are so blinding. I can't tell how many people are in the audience, so I'm good. You know? But I don't know how blinding. Well, they had the spotlight from the fire truck, which
Yeah,
that was impressive.
right.
Yeah, they're bright, and that was impressive that they brought the fire truck along. So, all right. Any final thoughts on the hilarity, the heartfeltness,
Well done.
Yeah, nothing specific. I mean, it was a good movie. I watched it with my parents and they both liked it. They thought it was funny. So
It
yeah.
lived up to the expectation, I think.
It did. It
Because
did.
that's the one thing I was really concerned about. I was like, oh my gosh, they're hyping this movie up. Stop, don't listen to anything. Don't hear anything. Don't watch anything. Because I didn't want to be like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so amazing. And then it was going to be like, oh.
A dud.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you always have to manage expectations. That way you don't inadvertently disappoint yourself. Even if the movie's still good, you can do that to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have higher expectations, even if it is a good one. I had pretty high expectations, especially because of the fact that Tyler and Andrew are family in real life.
Yeah.
And that they've spent so much time together. And then, and then you bring Paul Campbell in, who's a very gifted writer with comedy. And then the fact that you bring the team in of Paul and Kimberly.
Did you catch the little Easter egg from Paul? When he said, this is shaping up to be an unexpected Christmas. That was his movie.
Oh, I missed it. Good for you.
I was like, I feel like that's a reference.
Probably. But yeah, I really feel like it did live up to its hype. And it was, I just think it was really, really well executed.
Mm-hmm.
It just, yeah, I loved it. And I am 87% certain that this is one I'll be able to get my husband to watch.
Ooh, oh. Okay. Just tell him that we haven't mentioned that our bestie Jeff Gustafson is in it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, how do we forget Jeff?
Jeff and Chris from Postables.
Yes.
Yep.
Serge.
Yes. Serge and Igor.
Yeah.
Yes, we have our Postable cameos. And I felt Jeff was very believable as this strict boss.
I am so glad he got to be the boss, because he was a boss at being the boss. I thought it was great. I thought that he did great. And just the way Chris, I think his character's name is Kevin. Like, no one likes you. That seems like something Serge would say,
Yeah.
In those few moments when he does speak. So yeah, they were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And so glad that they were included, because this movie is going to become a favorite. You know it. That this is going to become a favorite on a lot of different levels.
Mm-hmm.
There was spontaneity, there was so much hilarity and comedy, there was realism, and I think it spoke to a lot of people, because it's things that we went through as parents of infants. And and it was,
yes, I went through all those things. Yes.
And it was all brand new. It was all brand new. And this, and the fact that it brought the siblings back together, because they just hadn't gotten along for who knows how many years. I thought that was a really sweet way, because when you have a hook thrown into things like that, you have to deal with other people. You have to have help, especially, when Luke had this big career as a firefighter, plus all of the other stuff that he was doing. And the other two, in between pet clients. And then Taylor, who just got fired and has plenty of free time. He had to, Lucas had to have help. He had to have help from these two. And so they were forced to work together once they stopped getting in each other's way.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really loved it.
Yeah, I agree. This movie, I think, checks a lot of the boxes for a lot of people. And I know for me, I have it listed as number one, but in reality, it's tied for number one because I really, really, really liked Lights, Camera, Christmas. I think they're two different kinds of movies.
I was just gonna say, apples and oranges. You can't really.
It's hard to rank these movies sometimes because, like, well, this one's number one for like comedy. This one's number one for romance. They sort of have different niches.
You just
what romance? Bleh. No. But yeah, should we on that note rate this movie?
I was just going to say, how many elves?
Well, since it's tied for my number one, I will give it the same as my number one, which is 4.75.
Oh, okay. Huh.
I will say, I have to explain though why it's not a full 5. I think for me, I still wanted a little more time on certain things. I wanted more of Sophie, her story a little bit more. I understand it was right at the very end, it had to be that way, but I would have liked a little bit more there. So I'm going to say that is where my 0.25 came from.
Okay.
But overall, job well done. This is one, so I always pick a few movies to show to my friend who hates cheesy rom-coms. So this is going to be one of the ones I show to her, and I think she's really going to like it.
So your friend, my husband.
Well, I mean, like, this isn't even really a rom-com because the focus was really on the relationship of the brothers and not necessarily like all the love stories came secondary.
Yeah, the romance was thrown in, but this is really a story of a family. Absolutely.
Even what's her name? Allie Liebert and Tyler Heinz's characters, even they weren't really like in a relationship.
No, they were broken up.
Yeah, they'd broken up and they're a little more platonic and not as, there's no push and pull there. It was more of this like, okay, you're immature, but for some reason I still like you. I don't know why, but here we are. But I appreciated that because it's like, that's life sometimes. So
very true.
It was nice that it wasn't like 3 mini romances all tied around the baby. It was like the baby was the focus and then everything else kind of
came secondary.
Yeah.
So Kaycee, how many elves?
Oh man. Okay, it's not it really isn't my number one. It's like my number, like if like there's one and then there's like one, like two, two's like right here. Oh man.
It doesn't have to be your number one. What's your ranking?
I'm gonna I guess a 5, but there's nothing wrong with it.
All right.
So I was, for the reference, Ghosts is number 1 still. I think Ghost will remain my number 1 because it surprised me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea that it was going to be good. And I think that's why my ranking for it is so high. This one, I knew it was going to be good because it was so hyped, but I was scared, but it lived up to that hype. So that's why it's like there. So I will give it a 5 because I gave Ghosts a 6. 6 out of 5. So
there you go. What about you, Cammie?
5 out of 5.
I'm gonna give this one 4.9 elves. Because there were just a couple of little tiny things, especially who's the oldest. I want to know that. I want it said. I want it to know for certain. But I want to say one quick thing about the hype. We had reached out to Andrew Walker to see if he had the time to come on and talk about it with us. And he got back to us and said, I can't come on and talk about it with you until after the movie because Hallmark wants to keep it really, really hush hush. So I'll come on after the movie premieres and talk to you about it, but I can't do it before.
Yeah.
So I will say they did a good job with not revealing a lot of spoilers because a lot of times they over promote and you're like, oh, I just pieced this entire movie together.
I got the movie.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, let us know how many elves you give this movie. And we will be back for another Deliver Me a Christmas movie. Bye, guys.
Bye.